One of the best mindset exercises that we give our athletes is taking personal responsibility for their excuses. Okay, so step one is we have to be very honest with ourselves. We all make excuses. We're most likely to lie to ourselves. Okay, so step one is admit that. You're an excuse maker. I'm an excuse maker. We're all excuse makers. We're procrastinators. We're lazy. We're selfish. We're all of it, all the above. Okay, so now that we have that taken care of, that we know that, we've admitted to ourselves that we are excuse makers, we are lazy, we are selfish, I want you to write down the 3 biggest excuses that you make. Is it blaming someone? Is it pointing the finger? Is it criticizing? So whatever your goal might be, whether it's for eating healthy, getting in better shape, for getting extra workouts in for your sport, for doing more work in your business, whatever it might be, think about the biggest excuses you make, why you don't do enough, why you aren't moving towards your goals, and then write that down. And then on another side of the paper, I want you to write down, I take personal responsibility for, and then write down the opposite. So as an example, if the first thing I usually do is I normally blame the workers in our business. Oh, our workers are lazy or whatever. No, I take personal responsibility for becoming a better manager. Let's say it's eating unhealthy. Let's say I'm eating a lot of junk food. I blame my family a lot because, well, they're always having cake after they eat a meal. Okay, so my excuse is blaming the family because everyone's eating cake. And on the other side of the paper, I'm going to write, I take personal responsibility for eating healthy wherever I'm at. Okay, so write down your 3 biggest excuses, and then on the other side of the paper, you write down, I take personal responsibility, and write down the opposite. Now, I remember I was very blessed to go to 2 great schools as an undergrad. I was at Rutgers for 3 years, and then I was at the University of Pennsylvania for my last 2 years. And a lot of people always ask me, what was the difference between the 2 schools? Now, at the time, Penn was like a top 20 wrestling team in the country. And Rutgers was like top 50, top 60, something like that. So it was a big difference in the level of quality wrestlers and academically. Obviously, Rutgers being a great school, Penn always being ranked in the top 8 every single year. So academically and athletically, it was a big jump. So what was the difference between the student athletes at Rutgers and at Penn? This is back when I was going there in 05, 07. And what I noticed, it wasn't a difference in talent. Okay, a lot of people think, wow, it's like, well, a top 20 wrestling team, there just must be much more talented athletes over there. And the same thing with school. You'd think, it's Ivy League, so they must be just naturally smarter. Their IQ is naturally higher at Penn. And that's not my experience. I had a lot of friends that were at Rutgers, a lot of teammates at Rutgers that had every bit as much a talent as my teammates and as my classmates at the University of Pennsylvania. But I think this exercise that we're talking about here was the biggest difference between the students. Okay, overall, the Penn students and the athletes at the time being a higher level, maybe it's reversed now, but at the time, the Penn student athletes did a much better job at taking personal responsibility, not making as many excuses. Okay, it doesn't mean they were perfect. It didn't mean they didn't make excuses, but more often than not, they didn't let themselves off the hook. When it came to studying, they made sure they got it in. It's on me. It's my responsibility. And the same thing for extra workouts. The coaches didn't have to ride them hard about make sure you're getting an extra workout in, make sure you're getting a lift in. They didn't have to do that. The guys were coming in on their own, getting extra workouts in. So I'm sure you'd find that across the board in any area. Okay, it's not the gifted birth. It's not the talent. Yes, that's part of it, but that's not the main thing. It's not letting ourselves off the hook. Stop lying to ourselves. Be honest. Be humble. We got to all be honest with ourselves. We're excuse makers. We're lazy. We're full of ourselves. All that. Let's get that on the table. Write down what our biggest excuses are. And if you don't know what they are, ask someone you care about. Ask someone who you're close with. Ask a parent. Ask a sibling. Ask a significant other. Ask a close friend. Someone who you know will tell you the truth. Okay? Because they know the excuses you make probably. So ask them. Write down those 3 big excuses, and then on another sheet of paper, write down, I take personal responsibility for, and then write down those different areas. And that's just a symbol, it's a written symbol of what you're going to do on a regular basis. Whenever you catch yourself giving an excuse, tell yourself, I take personal responsibility for doing it, acting now, eating healthy, getting the extra workout in, making another call, and on and on and on and on. Take personal responsibility. Do that exercise. The power doesn't come from just listening to me. The power comes from putting the pen to paper and doing the mindset exercise, just like you do the physical exercise in the gym. Mindset makes the difference.